Every crime leaves a trail. Every clue tells a story. And every truth demands to be uncovered.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome to The Explainer. If you're someone who just wants to, cut through the noise, skip that endless doom scrolling, and get straight to the facts, well, you are exactly in the right place. Today, we're taking a rather chaotic scrape of the daily news cycle and organizing it into clear thematic buckets. We're going to rely entirely on structured visual breakdowns to make sense of what's happening out there, extracting the core data so you can understand the big picture efficiently. So here's our roadmap for today's Explainer. We're going to hit 5 main sections. First, the Kandhamal land dispute. Second, a wave of domestic crimes. Third, Bengal political corruption claims. Fourth, rising global tensions. And finally, we'll wrap up with sports and entertainment updates. Let's get started. Section 1. The Kandhamal land dispute. Tragedy in the turmeric fields. We are stepping into some very serious local news here, focusing on a tragedy that unfolded right in the turmeric fields of Odisha. So, the crucial point here is the facts, and they're as straightforward as they are deeply tragic. We have a 34-year-old victim, Alicia Padra, and the accused, his 37-year-old cousin, Tapan Padra. This all happened right in their shared turmeric fields, over in the Daranbadi police station limits. This wasn't just some random act of violence, unfortunately. It stemmed from a really long-standing land dispute that just boiled over into a heated argument, tragically ending with an axe being used as the weapon. It's a horrific local tragedy, but sadly, it's part of a much wider, deeply troubling pattern we're seeing. Which brings us to Section 2, Wave of Domestic Crimes. Property, honor, and violence. As we just saw, disputes over property and personal boundaries can entirely fracture families, leading us into this broader wave of domestic violence. When you actually sit down and compare the underlying motives of these recent horrific crimes, a really chilling contrast emerges. On one hand, we're looking at a devastating case in Uttar Pradesh, driven purely by property motives, resulting in the murder of a mother and her 4 kids. On the other hand, up in an Amritsar village, we're seeing extreme violence driven by twisted moral concerns, literally a father taking the life of his own teenage daughter in an honor killing. 2 absolute tragedies fueled by completely different, yet equally disturbing personal motivations. Looking specifically at the Uttar Pradesh case, the reported justification is just staggering. Wanted to marry victim for property. That was the brutally blunt reasoning reported for the 20-year-old prime accused Amir Ahmad. He allegedly murdered 35-year-old Ghaziat Hatan and her 4 children with this incredibly calculated financial motive in mind, right before he was ultimately shot dead in a police encounter. Now, switching gears to the Amritsar case. The timeline captured on CCTV in the village of Muchal is incredibly grim. It goes like this. The 16-year-old girl goes missing for 2 days. Suddenly, she returns home. But moments later, her father's anger violently escalates. He actually attacks her with a sharp weapon and drags her by the hair behind a motorcycle. The final act of this whole sequence, her body being left on a railway line after being paraded through the village. And this brilliantly illustrates, well, brilliantly in a very dark sense, the completely warped mindset of the arrested father. According to reports, he actually justified this gruesome public display as a deterrent for others. Yeah, you heard that right. It's a stark reminder of the absolute severity of the source material we're digging into today. Just to wrap up this heavy section, it's worth noting how public these acts of abuse are becoming. There's a viral video currently trending from Bhubaneswar showing a man aggressively attacking a woman on a bike, slapping her, pulling her hair. It sparked a huge, heated online debate about domestic violence. It really shows how these localized incidents are just being caught on camera and thrust right into the public consciousness. Our social media feeds are kind of becoming these raw, unfiltered mirrors of our deepest societal issues. Okay, let's pivot the narrative. Section 3, Bengal political corruption claims. Allegations in the political sphere. We're stepping away from criminal violence now and moving into the realm of explosive, high-stakes political allegations in West Bengal. Take a look at this number right here. 5 crore rupees. It's a massive figure, right? And it sits literally at the center of a major political controversy making headlines. This represents the exact ticket price allegedly demanded from a former cricketer just to secure his political constituency. So here's the breakdown of the specific claims coming from former India cricketer and outgoing Trinamool Congress MLA Manoj Tiwari. He alleges he was denied a ticket for the Shibpur constituency specifically because he flat-out refused to pay this 5 crore rupee sum. On top of that, he claims several other candidates allegedly did pay huge amounts to secure their tickets in the recent elections. As he cuts ties with the party, he's heavily criticizing the TMC, alleging corruption, a total lack of internal democracy, and saying he just didn't get the leadership support needed to actually address civic issues. Let's broaden the lens again. Section 4. Rising global tensions. Middle East dynamics. We're shifting from regional political claims to the incredibly high stakes of international relations. Now, what's really interesting here is the sheer severity of the rhetoric being deployed, a crushing and regretful response. That is the hard red line Iran is currently drawing against the United Arab Emirates. And as you can imagine, it sets a very, very tense stage for the whole Persian Gulf region. Let's neutrally break down the geopolitics here based on what our sources are reporting. On one side, we've got the denial, Iran officially denying any involvement in recent strikes in the region. But directly opposing that, we have the accusation. Tehran is firmly claiming the UAE is actively enabling the United States and Israel. Iran is issuing this strict warning that if its territory is attacked from Emirati soil, its restraint is basically going to vanish, and the consequences will be explosive. This dynamic matters immensely to all of us, because a single miscalculation here could instantly disrupt global energy markets and pull in international allies. Okay. So, after navigating heavy local disputes, multi-crore political allegations, and literal geopolitical threats in the Middle East, what else is dominating today's trending feeds? Let's take a collective breath, completely switch gears, and see what the internet is actually clicking on right now. Section 5, Sports and Entertainment Updates, Lighter News and Trends. For our final bucket in today's explainer, we're focusing on the everyday drama of pop culture and sports. Running through the lighter side of the news cycle, we've got 2 big trending topics taking up a lot of oxygen. First up, actor Trisha Krishnan is making headlines for calling off her engagement. The reported reason? Her fiancé wanted her to quit acting. She noted she's only going to take a break when she gets pregnant. Fair enough. Meanwhile, jumping over to the sports world, the NFL rumor mill is in absolute overdrive, with intense speculation and internet drama swirling around reporter Diana Rossini and Mike Vrabel. And finally, we've got a story that grounds us right about into everyday struggles. An Indian-origin university grad in Australia is going completely viral right now after being left in total disbelief. Check this out. Despite holding a 3-year degree, they were flatly rejected for a basic supermarket cashier job. It's a super relatable snippet, and it sparked this massive online conversation asking whether the current global job market is just completely failing young professionals. Which brings us to the end of today's deep dive. From extreme familial disputes over property and twisted honor to massive political allegations, all the way to geopolitical threats and the everyday struggle of just trying to find a job, when you take a step back, you really have to wonder, what drives this incredibly wide, chaotic array of human behavior we see in a single day's news cycle? I really hope this structured breakdown has helped you connect the dots and understand the landscape just a little bit better. Keep learning, keep asking those big questions, and I'll see you on the next explainer.